Have you ever felt that seeing more clearly only amplified the shadows? This isn't a flaw, but perhaps an occupational hazard of deep perception. Perhaps the greatest solace philosophy offers is this: the intelligent, questioning mind is not a problem to be solved, but a capacity to be honored and cultivated. What path of philosophical inquiry will you choose to illuminate your own unique journey towards understanding and inner peace? The exploration itself is a testament to a life lived deeply. The weight of knowledge, the burden of foresight can feel isolating. Overthinking becomes a constant companion, dissecting every word, every silence. The perceived absurdity of existence can loom large and demand answers. Idealism clashes harshly with the often unyielding realities of the world. A mind that connects disparate dots may also connect them to despair. The search for meaning intensifies when surface-level answers no longer satisfy. Empathy, when profound, can mean feeling the world's fractures as one's own. The sheer volume of information can overwhelm rather than just enlighten. You might recognize the script of society, but feel an outsider to its play. Does a sharper mind sometimes feel like a heavier burden to carry? This sensitivity is not a curse, but a call to deeper exploration. The feeling of being too much or too deep is a common refrain. Many brilliant minds throughout history have walked this very same path. They too grappled with the vastness of existence and the ache of understanding. This profound capacity for thought demands robust tools for navigation. Superficial comforts often fail to soothe such deeply rooted unease. The dissonance between an internal world of depth and external simplicity can be jarring. This isn't about being broken, it's about being acutely, intensely alive. The mind's relentless quest for coherence meets an often chaotic reality. There is a yearning for something more, a resonance beyond the material. The gift of profound thought can often unveil unsettling, complex truths. This journey of intellect and emotion is not one to be feared, for within this very capacity for deep thought lies the potential for profound peace. Ancient wisdom traditions have long acknowledged this intricate human experience. They offer maps and compasses for the landscapes of the inner world. Philosophy, in its myriad forms, speaks directly to the questioning mind. It provides frameworks for understanding suffering, not just enduring it. Solace is found not in ignorance, but in cultivated wisdom and perspective. The intelligent mind, though prone to certain depths of pain, also holds keys to its own liberation. This is an invitation to explore these philosophical paths to inner resilience, to transform the weight of knowing into the lightness of understanding. Patterns become apparent not just of beauty, but of systemic flaws. Let us delve into how philosophy offers not escape, but meaningful engagement with life's complexities. The observation that intelligent individuals often experience a heightened sense of suffering is not mere anecdote. It's a recurring theme in psychology, literature, and indeed, philosophy itself. This isn't to suggest intelligence is a curse, but rather that certain cognitive traits, when highly developed, can predispose one to particular forms of existential friction. One primary factor is the tendency towards overthinking or rumination. A mind adept at analysis can turn this faculty inward, dissecting past events, future possibilities, and perceived personal failings with relentless scrutiny. This internal dialogue, often critical and looping, can generate significant anxiety and distress. Existential awareness, a hallmark of deeper intellects, often brings forth uncomfortable questions about meaning, purpose, and mortality. The vastness of the cosmos, the apparent randomness of events, or the finite nature of life can weigh heavily on those who contemplate them deeply. Heightened sensitivity and empathy often accompany high intelligence. The ability to deeply understand and feel the emotions of others, or to perceive suffering on a global scale, can be an immense emotional burden. News of injustice, environmental degradation, or human cruelty isn't just data, it's felt, sometimes viscerally. Moreover, a sharp intellect may lead to a sense of alienation or disillusionment. Recognizing inconsistencies, logical fallacies, or superficiality in common societal values and pursuits can make it difficult to fully integrate or find satisfaction in mainstream culture. This can result in feeling like an outsider, misunderstood, or perpetually out of sync with one's peers. The search for genuine connection and meaningful engagement becomes more critical and often more challenging. The pursuit of high ideals, common among intelligent individuals, can also be a source of suffering. When one holds a clear vision of how things could be, more just, more rational, more compassionate, the gap between this ideal and the often messy reality can be a constant source of frustration and disappointment. This idealism-reality gap can fuel a chronic sense of dissatisfaction, even when personal circumstances are objectively good. This confluence of overthinking, existential depth, heightened empathy, potential alienation, and frustrated idealism paints a picture not of inherent defect, but of a mind wired for a different kind of engagement with the world. It's a mind that questions, seeks, and feels deeply. The suffering that arises is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to its perceptive power. And it is precisely this power that philosophy aims to harness and guide. So, how does philosophy offer solace? It begins by validating this experience. Many philosophical traditions acknowledge the inherent difficulties of a thinking, feeling existence. Rather than dismissing angst as abnormal, philosophy often sees it as a starting point for profound inquiry and growth. It provides a language and a lineage for these deep-seated human concerns, showing that we are not alone in our questions or our suffering. One of the most direct philosophical balms comes from Stoicism. Figures like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius confronted suffering head-on. Their core teaching revolves around differentiating between what we can control and what we cannot. Our judgments, our intentions, our responses, these are within our power. External events, the actions of others, our ultimate fate, these are not. This distinction alone can drastically reduce anxiety. Questions arise that pierce the veil of everyday comfortable assumptions. Stoicism teaches the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance as the highest good and the path to eudaimonia or human flourishing. By focusing on our own character and actions, rather than external outcomes, we build an inner citadel, a resilience that cannot be easily shaken by the vicissitudes of fortune. Suffering, from a Stoic perspective, often arises not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. For the overthinking mind, Stoic practices like negative visualization, contemplating potential misfortunes, not to dwell on them, but to appreciate what one has and to mentally prepare for adversity, can be surprisingly effective. It strips away the fear of the unknown by confronting it in thought. Similarly, the practice of premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils, helps to build psychological resilience, making one less reactive when challenges inevitably arise. Another powerful philosophical stream offering solace is Buddhism, particularly its core psychological insights. The Buddha taught that suffering, dukkha, is an inherent part of conditioned existence, arising from craving, aversion, and ignorance. Crucially, he also taught that there is a path to the cessation of suffering. This realistic assessment of life's difficulties can itself be a relief to those who feel the world's imperfections acutely. The Buddhist concept of impermanence, anicca, offers profound perspective. Everything is in a constant state of flux: thoughts, emotions, circumstances, even our sense of self. Understanding this can lessen the grip of both painful experiences, knowing they will pass, and excessive attachment to pleasant ones, knowing they too are transient. This is not a pessimistic view, but a realistic one that encourages a lighter, more adaptable engagement with life. Mindfulness, a central practice in Buddhism, is a powerful tool for the intelligent yet often restless mind. It involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. For those prone to overthinking, anxiety about the future, or rumination on the past, mindfulness can provide an anchor. It allows observation of thoughts and feelings without being swept away by them, fostering a sense of calm inner spaciousness and clarity. Furthermore, the Buddhist emphasis on compassion, karuna, and loving kindness, metta, provides a constructive channel for heightened empathy. Instead of being overwhelmed by the world's suffering, these practices encourage cultivating a warm, benevolent heart towards oneself and others. This active cultivation of positive states can counteract feelings of despair and helplessness, transforming empathy from a source of pain into a source of connection and strength. Existentialism, though sometimes perceived as bleak, offers its own robust form of solace, particularly for those grappling with questions of meaning and absurdity. Philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, and Simone de Beauvoir confronted the meaningless nature of the universe head-on. However, they didn't stop at despair. Instead, they emphasized radical freedom and the responsibility to create one's own meaning. For the intelligent individual who sees through prescribed values, existentialism's call to authentic living can be deeply liberating. If there is no preordained purpose, then we are free to define our essence through our choices and actions. This shifts the focus from a futile search for external validation or cosmic blueprints to the empowering project of self-creation. Existentialism encourages embracing being in the world, with all its anxieties and uncertainties, not as problems to be eliminated, but as conditions of human freedom. The anxiety of choice, the burden of responsibility, these are indicators of our liberty. For a mind that questions deeply, this reframing can transform existential angst from a paralyzing force into a catalyst for courageous, self-defined living and the creation of personal value. Beyond specific schools, the very practice of philosophy offers intellectual companionship. Engaging with the great minds of the past and present who have wrestled with similar profound questions can alleviate the sense of isolation. It normalizes the experience of deep thought and its attendant challenges, providing a community of inquiry across time. Reading philosophy is like entering into a timeless dialogue about what it means to be human. This heightened awareness, this intellectual acuity, comes with a unique cost. Philosophy also hones critical thinking skills, which can then be applied to one's own thought processes. It teaches us to examine our assumptions, identify cognitive biases, and evaluate the validity of our beliefs, especially those that cause us distress. The same analytical prowess that might lead to overthinking can be transformed through philosophical training into a tool for self-understanding, mental clarity, and emotional regulation. The intellectual rigor demanded by philosophy can be intrinsically satisfying for a keen mind. It channels the urge to question and analyze into constructive pathways, exploring ethics, metaphysics, epistemology, and aesthetics. This engagement can provide a profound sense of purpose and intellectual fulfillment, transforming a mind prone to restlessness into one engaged in a meaningful and stimulating lifelong pursuit of wisdom. Consider the Socratic maxim, "The unexamined life is not worth living." For many intelligent individuals, this resonates deeply. Philosophy provides the methods and encouragement for that examination. It invites a fearless look at oneself and the world, not to wallow in difficulties, but to find a more conscious, deliberate, and ultimately more fulfilling way to live, even amidst imperfections and uncertainties. For instance, the concept of ataraxia from Epicureanism, often misunderstood as hedonism, actually refers to a state of serene calmness, free from fear and mental disturbance. This was to be achieved through simple pleasures, friendship, and the study of philosophy to dispel fears, like fear of death or divine retribution. This offers a path to tranquility grounded in rational understanding and mindful living, appealing to an analytical mind. The dialogues of Plato, beyond their specific doctrines, demonstrate the power of dialectic, the art of investigating truth through reasoned argument. For a mind that enjoys grappling with complex ideas, engaging with these dialogues can be both a comfort and a whetstone. It shows that difficult questions can be approached systematically, and that through rigorous inquiry, deeper understanding, if not always definitive answers, can be attained. Even philosophies that might seem pessimistic, like aspects of Schopenhauer's work, can offer a strange solace. By articulating the pervasiveness of suffering stemming from an insatiable will, Schopenhauer validates the experience of those who feel life's inherent struggles acutely. His suggestion that aesthetic contemplation and compassion can offer temporary liberation from the will's tyranny also points towards sophisticated coping mechanisms. The key takeaway is that philosophy doesn't necessarily promise to eliminate suffering entirely, as that might be an unrealistic expectation for a deeply perceptive mind. Instead, it offers ways to understand, reframe, and navigate suffering. It provides tools to build resilience, cultivate inner peace, find meaning, and engage with the world more wisely and compassionately, even when its complexities are keenly felt. This process of philosophical engagement is not a quick fix, but a lifelong practice. It's about cultivating a certain orientation towards life, one of curiosity, critical reflection, ethical awareness, and a persistent search for wisdom. For the intelligent individual, this path can transform the potential for greater suffering into a potential for greater understanding and a more profound, meaningful existence. Furthermore, philosophy encourages the development of intellectual humility. Recognizing the limits of one's own understanding, despite high intelligence, can be a relief. It opens the mind to continuous learning and guards against the arrogance that can sometimes accompany intellect. This humility makes one a better listener, a more open-minded thinker, and more capable of navigating the complexities of human interaction and diverse perspectives. The study of ethics, a core branch of philosophy, provides frameworks for making difficult moral choices and for living a principled life. For individuals acutely aware of injustice or hypocrisy, ethical theories offer systematic ways to think about right and wrong, justice and fairness. This can help channel moral sensitivity into constructive action, or, at the very least, provide a coherent basis for one's own conduct and values. An intricate mind may weave tapestries of anxiety from fine threads of observation. Existential thinkers also highlight the importance of engagement or commitment. Finding a project, a cause, or a set of values to which one can authentically commit can provide a powerful antidote to feelings of meaninglessness or alienation. This commitment doesn't have to be grandiose. It can be found in work, relationships, creativity, or service. The act of choosing and pursuing commitments imbues life with subjective meaning. The philosophical exploration of beauty and aesthetics can also be profoundly solacing. Appreciating art, music, literature, or the beauty of nature can offer moments of transcendence, lifting the spirit beyond everyday anxieties. Philosophers like Schiller or Shaftesbury argued that aesthetic experience could cultivate moral sentiment and a harmonious inner life. For a sensitive mind, engaging with beauty can be a deep source of joy and restoration. Nietzsche, while often challenging, offered the concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate. This involves accepting and even affirming all aspects of one's life, including suffering and hardship, as essential parts of the whole. For an intelligent person who sees life's difficulties clearly, this radical acceptance can be a powerful shift from resistance and resentment to a courageous embrace of one's full destiny, finding strength in affirming even the painful parts. The very act of philosophizing can be a form of play for the intellect, a stimulating engagement that is enjoyable in its own right. Wrestling with paradoxes, exploring abstract concepts, constructing arguments, these activities can be deeply satisfying for a mind that thrives on complexity. This intellectual play can be a healthy outlet for mental energy that might otherwise turn towards rumination or anxiety. Philosophy teaches us that questions are often as important, if not more so, than answers. For an intelligent individual prone to seeking definitive solutions, this can be a liberating realization. Embracing the process of inquiry, living with ambiguity, and finding comfort in the ongoing pursuit of understanding, rather than demanding finality, can reduce intellectual frustration and open up new avenues of thought. Many philosophical traditions also emphasize the importance of community and dialogue. Sharing one's thoughts and struggles with like-minded individuals, or engaging in respectful debate, can be incredibly validating and enriching. The Socratic method itself is dialogical. Finding or creating spaces for deep conversation can combat the isolation that intelligent individuals sometimes feel, fostering connection through shared inquiry. The Stoic practice of journaling, as exemplified by Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, provides a private space for self-reflection, for processing difficult emotions, and for reinforcing philosophical principles. For an introspective mind, this act of writing can be a powerful tool for gaining clarity, managing anxieties, and charting a course for virtuous living. It's a dialogue with oneself, guided by wisdom. Ultimately, philosophy offers not a set of dogmatic answers, but a diverse toolkit of perspectives and practices. The intelligent individual can explore these different schools of thought, Stoicism, Buddhism, Existentialism, and many others, and find what resonates most deeply with their own temperament and challenges. It's an invitation to become one's own philosopher, actively shaping a life of meaning and resilience. The suffering that can accompany high intelligence is often a byproduct of seeing the world with unusual clarity and depth. It stems from a refusal to accept easy answers and a yearning for something more profound. Philosophy acknowledges this clarity and yearning, not as a problem to be suppressed, but as a capacity to be cultivated towards wisdom and genuine well-being. It teaches that true strength lies not in avoiding pain, but in transforming our relationship to it. By understanding its roots, by cultivating inner resources, and by finding meaning even in adversity, the perceptive mind can navigate life's challenges with greater equanimity and purpose. The philosophical journey is one of turning intellectual power into practical wisdom. Existential questions bloom in the fertile soil of a deeply reflective intellect. So if you find yourself wrestling with complex thoughts and deep emotions, know that you are in good company and that ancient pathways to solace exist. Philosophy is not an abstract academic discipline confined to ivory towers. It is a living tradition of practical wisdom, readily available to all who seek it. It is a guide for the perplexed, a comfort for the troubled, and a light for the searching mind. This journey involves recognizing that sensitivity is a strength, not a weakness, when paired with tools for understanding and managing it. Philosophy provides these tools, helping to channel profound awareness away from cycles of anxiety or despair and towards insight, compassion, and constructive action. It's about refining, not dulling, the perceptive capabilities of a sharp intellect. Consider the examine life, not as a burden of constant scrutiny, but as an opportunity for continuous growth and self-discovery. Each challenge, each difficult question, when approached with philosophical tools, becomes a stepping stone towards greater self-awareness and a more deeply understood personal ethic. This transforms potential suffering into a catalyst for profound personal development. The philosophical pursuit of truth, even if ultimate truth remains elusive, is itself a meaningful endeavor. It satisfies the intellectual hunger that often characterizes intelligent minds, providing a framework for coherent thought and a bulwark against the chaos of unexamined assumptions. This pursuit lends a certain dignity and purpose to the cognitive capacities that might otherwise feel directionless or overwhelming. When an intelligent mind encounters suffering, its own or others, it often seeks to understand why. Philosophy provides various lenses. Stoicism points to our judgments, Buddhism to our attachments, existentialism to the human condition. This understanding doesn't magically erase pain, but it contextualizes it, makes it less terrifyingly random, and often reveals pathways for skillful response rather than helpless reaction. The isolation felt by some intelligent individuals can be mitigated by realizing that philosophy itself forms a vast, timeless community. Engaging with the thoughts of Plato, a Stoic slave like Epictetus, or a modern thinker like Simone Weil, bridges centuries and circumstances. One finds that the deepest human questions and anxieties are shared, fostering a sense of kinship with fellow seekers of wisdom. Furthermore, philosophy encourages the development of an inner locus of control. By focusing on one's own virtues, responses, and choices, as Stoicism advises, or by taking responsibility for creating meaning, as existentialism suggests, one becomes less dependent on external validation or circumstances for well-being. This internal grounding is a powerful antidote to the anxieties born of a world perceived as chaotic or unjust. Many philosophies also stress the importance of aligning one's actions with one's values, a concept known as integrity. For an intelligent mind that easily spots hypocrisy, living authentically and in accordance with deeply considered principles can be a profound source of peace and self-respect, even if it means going against the grain or facing external difficulties. This congruence is a hallmark of a well-examined life. The process of philosophical inquiry can also be a source of joy and wonder. Unraveling a complex argument, grasping a profound insight, or seeing the world in a new, richer way through a philosophical lens can be deeply exhilarating. This intellectual joy is a positive counterpart to the potential for intellectual angst, showing that a powerful mind can be a source of delight as well as depth. The great philosophical traditions often converge on the idea that wisdom involves not just knowing, but being. It's about embodying insights in daily life, cultivating certain states of mind like mindfulness or compassion, and consistently practicing virtues like courage and temperance. This transforms philosophy from an academic study into a way of life, a practical art of living well. The world's suffering can resonate more profoundly within a sensitive, analytical consciousness. Thus, for the intelligent individual who may suffer from the acuity of their perceptions, philosophy offers not an escape from reality, but a deeper, more skillful engagement with it. It provides a heritage of wisdom, a set of practical tools, and a community of fellow travelers, all aimed at transforming the burdens of a keen mind into the blessings of a well-lived, meaningful life. This journey is not about finding a single, perfect answer that resolves all complexities. Rather, it's about developing a resilient and adaptable mindset, capable of navigating uncertainty with grace. Philosophy equips us with mental models and reflective practices that allow us to process, rather than be overwhelmed by, the sheer volume of information and emotional input that an intelligent mind often encounters. The overthinking mind, when trained philosophically, can become a powerful ally. Its ability to analyze can be turned towards deconstructing unhelpful thought patterns, identifying cognitive distortions, and cultivating more rational and compassionate self-talk. What was once a source of anxiety becomes a tool for self-liberation, like turning a wild horse into a trusted steed. The deep empathy that can cause pain can also be transformed into a profound source of connection and altruistic motivation. Philosophical ethics and practices like Buddhist metta, loving kindness, provide channels for this empathy, guiding it towards constructive compassion that seeks to alleviate suffering in oneself and others, rather than simply absorbing it passively. For those who feel alienated by superficiality, philosophy offers depth and authenticity. It validates the search for meaning and connection that goes beyond surface appearances. Engaging with profound ideas and striving to live an authentic life, as existentialism encourages, can create a sense of inner coherence and purpose that transcends feelings of being an outsider. The burden of seeing the world's flaws and injustices can be channeled through philosophical reflection into a commitment to positive change, however small. Whether through stoic focus on one's own sphere of influence or an existentialist commitment to a chosen cause, philosophy provides frameworks for turning disillusionment into constructive engagement, fostering agency rather than despair. In summary, the heightened awareness of an intelligent mind, while sometimes a source of suffering, is also the very faculty that can engage with philosophy to find profound solace. It's not about dimming the light of intellect, but about learning to navigate by its brilliance. Philosophy offers the maps, the tools, and the timeless companionship for this essential human journey. The path philosophy illuminates is one of self-awareness, resilience, ethical living, and the courageous creation of meaning. It transforms the potential for existential angst into an opportunity for a richer, more examined, and ultimately more fulfilling life. The sharp mind, armed with philosophical insight, can find its own way to flourish, not in spite of its depth, but because of it. So the suffering of the intelligent is not a foregone conclusion, but a potential crossroads. One path leads to unmanaged angst. The other, through philosophical engagement, leads to a profound understanding of oneself and the world, and to a hard-won, deeply rooted peace. It is an invitation to turn the keen edge of intellect into a tool for crafting a life of wisdom and purpose. Remember, you are not alone in these deep waters. The currents of thought and feeling that sometimes seem overwhelming have been navigated by countless others. Their wisdom, preserved in philosophy, offers a timeless lighthouse, guiding us not to a placid shore free of all storms, but to the strength and skill to sail our own ship with courage and clarity.